If this is your first time listening to LCP D&D, welcome. If you enjoy the episode, stay tuned when it's over to hear some trailers of other content we have to offer. In case you weren't aware, all content on the LCP D&D podcast is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. And now, it's time to drop you into the deep.
Breathe slow. It's weight upon you. The ghost upon you. Whatever you dreamed before. The dark came. You're never going to dream it again. You're never going to dream
All right, so we lost contact with Deepwater Plymouth 3 days ago. There is a construction crew of 3 people down there. We expect that they are completely fine. This is a regular occurrence. We will be bringing down a new fiber optic line for Deepwater Plymouth. Safety rules. When you get on Deepwater Plymouth, there will be 2 fire extinguishers near the exit of every room that you are in. Fire alarms will immediately make all motion-activated doors seal. So if you accidentally pull a fucking fire alarm, I will have your ass. Do you understand me? Also in each room, in case of flooding, you will still be pulling the fire alarm because the seal will work the same way. There are oxygen tanks by the door, by the fire extinguishers. Does everyone understand?
I'm going to lean over to Sydney and go,
This your first day at boot camp?
I wouldn't call it boot camp.
The fuck did you just say? Maldonado Pharmaceuticals takes safety as a #1 priority, old man.
It doesn't sound very safe to me. It sounds like I'm about to get punched.
Get in the fucking bathysphere.
what is that?
A bathysphere is the sphere that is inside of the submarine that actually houses the people. And you know that all of these submarines, they have 5 separate bathyspheres that go down the length of it. It's basically like a giant torpedo almost that has some fans that can then sort of blow it like Boba Fett's ship when he's flying it around. So each of you will be loaded into your personal bathysphere that will then be sealed, and then you go down to Deepwater Plymouth.
My own personal bathysphere.
Is communication between us done over a radio or something like that?
Yes, you have L3 communicators that can go up to 2 miles through the water and ocean. So you'll have contact with the boat up until you hit the Hadal zone.
Okay. I think Wallace would be familiar with that stuff, so he's just gonna climb aboard.
Tyg will too.
As Sid goes to climb aboard, you said there's like basically like fans that push it down?
No, it's like a giant torpedo to go down. The fans are used to make it move laterally.
Ah, okay. Well, he's going to kind of rap on one and hear how it rings to see the acoustics, and then just get in his bathysphere.
It seems like it's made out of carbon fiber, if you were to guess something.
Okay.
Well, I've never been down something quite like this before, but this looks like quite a ride. I'll jump in.
Me neither. I'm pretty excited, actually.
Is it possible to see out of them, or is it just completely black?
Yeah, no, you have like a little window, but it will be completely black in a little while. Because you're going to the bottom of the ocean. Anyway, as soon as all of you are loaded into your personal bathyspheres, you get lurched up on end, and you're sort of hanging there by your 5-point harness that is holding you into this seat, and then you're slowly lowered into the water, and you can watch as these divers come out and they break off these airbags that were sort of keeping the submarines sort of horizontal in the water, and as soon as these bags break off, the descent begins, and you can feel it. Like your stomach lurches up into your chest as you begin to just go down quickly. And at first, you can see the ocean around you because the sun can still penetrate quite deep. But after a while, it gets immensely dark. And the only thing that you can see is the glow of your instruments.
So, how's everybody doing around here?
What do you mean in general? With our lives, or?
I don't know. In your sphere, everything operational.
Yes. Has anyone ever been down this deep before?
No. Fucking dark, huh?
Have you ever had any experience with claustrophobia?
Yes.
I've done plenty of diving, but I've never gone down this far before.
Yeah, me too.
Nor I. I've been in some deep-sea labs, but nothing so deep as the Mariana Trench.
Mm-hmm.
You start to hear creaking and groaning, and all of you know that this is because the immense pressure of the ocean actually shrinks these submarines, but it still doesn't explain or prepare you for how terrifying this sound actually is when it begins to happen as you descend deeper.
Oh, I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of that, at least.
One thing that I found when descending into places like this is it's best to just not think about it. The guy who first asked us how we were doing, what exactly do you do?
I work on turbines. I design turbines, for like jets or power plants.
Oh, I remember you from the roster. Your name is Sid?
Yes, Sid McMillan.
Sid Turbine, got it.
Is that a nickname or something?
It helps me remember who you all are.
So we've got a Sydney. Nice.
Oh, bollocks.
There's no way that would get confusing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like an oversight, maybe on my part.
Tell us about yourself, other Sydney. We need to come up with some sort of way to separate you two.
I am a professional deep-sea diver. That's what I do for a living.
Oh, so you're used to this, or no?
Not really. We don't go this far, typically. But I suppose I'm as qualified as you can be.
Well, at least you are used to being underwater. It's more than some people can say.
So do these comms still go up to the mothership? If so, I got a question for you. What happens if we left our keys up in the boat?
Exactly what would you have keys to?
They can just toss them down to you.
Hey, dipshit, you're not about to get in contact with the boat. Releasing shot. And you hear a bunch of, it sounds like BBs almost draining from this compartment. And your descent begins to slow a little bit.
Oh, fuck.
Lights on! And he turns the lights on, and through all of your individual portholes, you can see that aside from these large swaths of light that are being created by your submarines, it's complete and utter darkness around it. And you can see the bottom of the ocean. One of the things that you guys all would know is that the station is not at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. It is next to the Marianas Trench, which would put it at about 5 miles under the ocean. But obviously there is opportunity to go and study things much deeper. You guys have the capability and the equipment to do so. But yeah, he kind of stops talking now that those things have been done.
Is it just me, or does the light make it worse?
Don't think about it. Alright, so when we get to this laboratory, do any of you know your way around?
Somewhat.
I do believe they provided us with maps before we all got on here, did they not?
I thought they were going to, but I didn't seem to receive mine.
Perhaps you misplaced it.
There's only about a dozen rooms. It's not like you're gonna get lost in here.
It's okay. I've got my map here.
And you'll hear just like crinkling of paper as he's like ruffling around.
Oh, yep. We're good. I can share.
You can look off mine too, mate.
So who do you think is in the submarine with Wallace? Like whose bathyspheres are also in Wallace's?
I get it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be with me either.
Probably Marisha.
Yeah, you can throw Joel in there too, if there's room.
All right, Marisha, Joel, and we need one more then, because Hughes is going to be piloting this one.
Claire can be in there.
All right.
Joel and I are sharing a seat.
So, you guys are carrying on this conversation, and for a brief moment, everything sort of like powers down and just kind of creaks and groans. And you hear Hughes go, "Motherfucker! God fucking!" And he's like, you can hear him flipping switches just frantically over the radio. And then after a few moments, the submarine comes back to life and it starts to move forward again. But he's still cursing under his breath, just fucking cheap piece of shit. Motherfucker's always just cutting fucking corners, motherfucker. And then it goes quiet.
Should we be concerned?
I feel like they cut a corner when they hired him.
When I say that, I cover up my microphone, but obviously I'm still talking to my guys, so everybody can hear it.
And when they didn't provide hearing protection.
And then you come upon Deepwater Plymouth, which is this, it looks like these massive sort of spherical objects that have been sort of fused together to create this very ugly sort of building. Like, there doesn't seem to be much rhyme or reason to it, but as all of you know, this has been sponsored by various different corporations and subsidiaries, and so it doesn't necessarily seem like just by looking at this thing, it seems like as soon as somebody came up with enough funding, they just slapped on whatever it was that they were going to be sponsoring, because this thing is ugly. But as you come through the moon pools and all of your bathyspheres open up, you kind of take a second to adjust to the fluorescent lighting that's going on in here. And you can see that there are two people in orange jumpsuits that are standing at the moon pool edge, and they're sort of looking at you, and they look very nervous. And basically, to kind of describe the moon pool, is there's this large, about 50 foot wide by 50 foot long pool that just basically comes up into a pressurized area of this underwater habitat that allows you to sort of dock your vehicles. And there's an overhead crane that can allow you to actually pull the vehicles out if you wanted to. But yeah, you have arrived at Deepwater Plymouth.
I'm gonna scramble out of my bathysphere as quickly as humanly possible.
Okay.
And over to the two very nervous looking people and go, okay, we're here.
Oh, thank Christ you're here. And you notice that there's a name tag on his jumpsuit that says Hutchinson. And on the woman's, it's Kodrick. He's kind of maybe early 40s. His beard looks like it's gotten kind of long, sort of salt and pepper with brown. And she's maybe mid-30s, like shoulder length black hair. And he again just says, we need to talk to Hughes. We need to talk to Hughes as soon as possible. And one of the things you notice, Sid, is that right next to them, there is this large sort of spherical object, maybe 3 feet in diameter. And it's got this sort of obsidian color to it, but it's very polished. Like the way that the fluorescent light sort of bounces off of it seems just odd to you.
Is this thing laying on the deck, or is it like suspended up, or what?
Yeah, it's suspended like onto now I forget what they're called. Those nylon sort of straps, almost, but the straps are connected to chains so that they can be used on the overhead crane.
Oh, okay. And then are all of us here, or just that first submersible?
You guys are all there. Yeah, you guys arrive within seconds of each other.
So why are you all looking so dire? Have you never seen surface dwellers before?
Funny.
That's a mighty big black ball you got there.
Right. I need to talk to Hughes. I need to talk to Hughes now. And Hughes, the military cut guy with the mustache that gave you guys the safety protocol, steps over and goes, "What is it that you need to tell me, son?" And the guy kind of like waves at him to go up the ladder. And Lisa stands there and she's sort of just nervously looking around, and you can tell that her hands are shaking. But one of the things that you guys know about being down here is to combat nitrogen buildup in your blood, they need to add a little bit of extra helium to the air. And with this little bit of extra helium, though, you do run the risk of what is called high-pressure neurosyndrome. And so there is a chance that they're just paranoid. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a paranoia sort of thing. And one of the calling card signs is delusions and shaking hands.
So what's the big fucking sphere, or...
We should wait until Hughes decides what is or isn't going to disseminate to the team. This is way above my pay grade. This is... I don't know. I just...
And as he's actively reaching out to touch it, are we able to touch it, or,
I wouldn't.
I want to walk up to Lisa and say,
Is there anyone else on board, or is it just you two?
Pierce is dead.
Oh. This is serious.
His submarine, it crashed, and he was carrying this fuck. Just don't tell Hughes I told you. Okay? You can't know.
Okay.
zipper lip motion.
I'm desperately adverse to talking to Hughes, so...
So what did he crash into?
That's the thing. He's been piloting these subs, building this station for 6 months, and we've never even bumped into anything. And he said that he saw something after a small tremor we had, and he wanted to go investigate it, and then his sub went dark.
I'm sorry about the loss of your friend. I lost a daughter years back, so I understand that it's very difficult.
I just don't... Pierce is good at his job. He's not... There was nothing for him to crash into.
I think maybe it wasn't his fault at all. Maybe she'll like drop her voice and she'll just like, well, maybe there was a problem with the computers or something with the instruments.
Just as you're saying that, you hear the hatch open and the sound of two people coming down the ladder. And Lisa immediately clams up when she hears that.
As soon as she clams up, Tyke says, "The Kraken don't care much about how good you are." And he kind of laughs.
All right, listen. We got a situation here, people, Hughes says as he comes in closer, and I need 5 of you to just go set up your stations, but we're going to have 3 volunteers. Well, shit. One of them's probably got to be you, Dr. Keene. Looks like we're going to be testing your thing a little early.
Really? I don't know if it's quite ready yet. I was down here to... Okay.
Listen, we're going to send these folks up so that they can get a break from being down here, so they can get into, so that they can decompress and all of those things. What we need to do right now is we have to figure out exactly what happened to Pierce's sub. And I don't think that we have any capability of getting in there with any of the robotic arms, which means a man's going to have to go in there and pull out the black box.
Where's the wreckage?
There's a GPS locator on it. It's not too far from here. Near the trench.
I'll volunteer.
Guess I gotta go too.
I can make 3. I came down here to work with Dr. Keene in the first place. I don't mind helping out early.
All right. Hughes will look at you, Joel, and he'll say, Lawrence, why don't you help me try and get this thing upstairs? And he's going to motion towards the sphere.
Yeah, he nods. He throws down the bag he has slung over his shoulder, and he goes right to work.
All right. You guys have various carts and trolleys, and also there is this sort of... Basically what it does is it attaches onto the rung, like onto the sides of the ladder, and it sort of goes on the outside. And it's sort of a lift that you can use to bring things more easily up the ladder. And so you guys... So you set to doing that with Hughes.
Basically, what's going to be happening is we're going to be inside of a suit, and in the suit, you're going to be breathing liquid. And I know this sounds really weird, but you're going to be breathing something called oxygenated fluorocarbon emulsion, and it's what's going to keep the pressure from crushing us. I'm not sure how deep you can go with it, but I'm mostly certain that it'll work at 5 miles.
What's it taste like?
Not pleasant, but it's fine. You're going to get over it. I'm not even sure if the pressure, honestly, will let you taste.
Do you have an idea of a bottom limit for how low we can go?
I'm not quite sure, but if we're not going to be going into the trench, I don't think that'll be an issue.
Well, we know his wreckage was near the trench. It always could have slid in from currents, or if it collided with something, it could have ruptured one of the air tanks or anything, so...
I've got a suggestion for how you'll know. The sea will crush you, and you go to where it stops doing that.
Take it from me. That's probably the best way you could die down here.
That's comforting, Ty. Thank you. That was really timely.
It sure beats the bins.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Tig. I think I can list about 50 different ways that we could die much worse down here. You want to know some of them, or?
Not right before we leave. Not right before we get into the suits and leave the habitat. Why don't we hear it?
Well, I'm only saying because I don't know if any of you've read any like technical manuals or anything, and they say don't do this.
Go unpack and get acclimated.
Marisha steps forward and puts her hands on your shoulders very gently and says, "Don't worry, we all did our research, and you can tell us some more about it when we get back if you really want to."
If I remember.
We'll be fine, Sid Turbine.
I lean over to Tig and say, let's hope he doesn't remember.
I don't think we'll have to worry about that. Say, we got time to eat something. I'm famished.
You don't know. Hughes is gone, and so is Dr. Walden, and so... you know what I mean?
I look around, and then, like, I take out, like, a sandwich baggie out of my pocket, and there's, like, a mushed up, like, fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich that, like, is definitely, like, just smushed completely flat because of the pressure down here, and I just, like, take it out and start to eat it.
This might be my age talking, but I'm not in a terrible rush to do anything. We'll be down here a while. If you want to eat, let's eat.
One step ahead of you.
Well, I think we should go and find the commissary and get ourselves familiarized with this area.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I wouldn't mind seeing my laboratory along the way.
That sounds like a fine idea.
Which one is your lab?
I'm going to be researching medical uses for silicone-based life forms.
Are there silicone-based life forms down here?
They found them a while back, residing on the hydrothermal vents. We've done some experiments. We've been able to turn them into glue. But I think they could be more useful to us than that.
I laugh when he says they turned them into glue.
So when you get into the galley, you basically see that it's this large module, and you see that there are sort of these just long, they almost look like desks, but they're all attached, and they just have a stool that sort of comes out, and there are, one on either side or of each door. And then in the middle, though, so you kind of can't see the other side of the room, there is this long wall of cabinets, and it looks like this is the storage for the various food, and you can see that it's labeled like dehydrated ice creams, mac and cheeses, and the protein products, and you know what I mean, like there is a veritable smorgasbord of space food.
Does anybody know how the rationing works? Are we able to just take what we want, or
I would say for now, but just prepare yourself to get your ass chewed out later by Hughes.
That would be uncomfortable, I think.
Of course, you could have his share since he's going to be dining on your ass.
Wallace, you would notice that there is a large sign that says biology lab on one of the doors in the galley.
It might be my place right there. I might pop in after a short while. I get something in my stomach. I honestly don't know if we should gorge ourselves, though. We're in an unfamiliar place, and our stomachs may not handle everything well.
Well, you speak for yourself. I've never had any trouble eating anything. My mom used to make this crawdad stew that was it was out of this world, but my neighbors couldn't handle it.
What the fuck is a crawdad?
You don't know what a crawdad? Right. It's basically like a big old shrimp, but they grow in freshwater.
You can't do that. Pirate Chris, you can't do that on podcasts because they won't know what we're laughing at.
I'm just trying to get you guys to break, that's all. I'm sorry, I'm trolling.
Speaking of which, I'm actually going to move to Joel and Hughes. You guys are taking the sphere up to medical. You go in there and you see that there's sort of one examination table. The room is sort of that medical white, that very sterile white sort of room. There seem to be various instruments and things like that. And Hughes rams the cart right into the examination table and then sort of uses the straps to roll it onto the examination table, and he says, "You ever seen any shit like this before?"
Yeah, Joel crosses his arms and he's gonna, I guess, give it a look over. Quietly for a moment, and then he'll just kind of shake his head.
Fuck you think it is?
He pauses for another moment and then shrugs.
I think it's a fucking landmine or something from one of the wars.
Then why is that here?
Yeah, we're pretty far away from any of those, huh? He kind of reaches out, like he wants to touch it.
You think that's a smart idea?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Well, if your hunch is that it's a landmine, maybe you should let it be. There's even a chance of it exploding. You have a bomb expert on your fancy science team?
Not that I know of, but I'm gonna go to comms. I'm gonna ask for advisement. Why don't you just make sure nobody else comes in here, okay?
Joel nods.
And he'll head out.
Yeah, then Joel will just kind of secure the room and make sure that no one fucks with this stuff.
All right. So I think that you guys have been in the galley eating for a little while. Is there anything specifically that anybody wants to go do? I'm not counting Dr. Keene, just because I'm assuming that you're getting the suits ready for their first live test.
Yep.
Is it just me, or does the food taste like garbage? Is it the pressure, or is it the food?
Well, certainly Mama's cooking, but it's palatable, I guess.
It all tastes like chalk, and it kind of falls apart. It's
the pressure. You turn around and you see that Dr. Walden is standing there, and she's got her hair pulled back into a tight bun, and now she's got her lab coat on. But it also doesn't taste very good.
Well, that would make sense.
Do you have more lab coats down here?
Makes me feel more official.
Yeah, I'd love one of those. I'm poorly dressed for lab work right now.
There's plenty of smocks and lab coats and various protective gear in all of the labs should you need them.
Right.
Come. And she'll actually lead you all into the biology lab, which you notice is actually incredibly state-of-the-art. And every single piece of equipment says Maldonado Pharmaceuticals in like huge, bold black letters. And I mean, there are computers, microscopes. It would appear as though you might even have an electron scanning microscope. You have centrifuges, all sorts of Erlenmeyer flasks, beakers. But one of the things that you do notice is that all of the Bunsen burners and their fuel sources are kept in separate cabinets. Like, you can see them, they have glass over it. Like, it's not that they're hiding it. And Dr. Walden will notice that one of you notices this, and she'll say, anything flammable or toxic gas, but mostly flammable, needs to be kept in the secured locations at all times in case of tremors. Unless, of course, you're using it. But storage. Hughes normally gives the safety spiel, but he's kind of a douchebag and a little bit busy, so.
We'll be alright. I know my way around the biology lab.
Well, let me show you the coolest part. And she'll go over to one of the doors that's on either side of the module. And you'll see that there are these tubes that sort of run out, and she has to kind of duck down because they're a little bit small. But she starts walking out, and you sort of see her disappear around a 90-degree turn. You guys gonna follow?
Yes.
Yeah, while we're walking, I turn to Wallace and I say, do you think that's what the pharmaceutical company's doing down here? Like, getting all those critters trying to corner the glue market?
The glue was just an initial stage. I'm sure they have bigger plans. Do you think there even is a glue market? I didn't know that was much of a thing. You're trying to topple Elmers off his throne?
Look, I'm not a businessman.
When you get behind Dr. Walden, you notice that the floor and ceiling of this sort of sphere that you're in, it seems like it might be transparent, and Dr. Walden actually flips a switch and these floodlights come on, and you look out and can see the open ocean. And off in the distance, you can see this tall, sort of long, spindly arm that's going up, and it sort of comes and juts out at this 90-degree angle from this, like, amorphous blob that's sort of just floating there. And go ahead and make me an intelligence roll, Wallace. And you also can roll this, Claire.
Well, normally I'd be happy to have gotten a 15, but my intel is 14.
4. And my intelligence is 17.
You just need to tell me pass or fail. Like, y'all don't need to tell me the results at all. So, Claire, you know that that's a long-armed squid, and they have only ever seen 12 other reported sightings, like, of real, documented, like, legitimate, believable individuals and sources seeing this creature.
Well, I never thought I'd see something like that. That's a long-armed squid. How did you get one of those down? Was it just here?
It's been trolling the bottom of the ocean around here for 2 or 3 weeks.
I was hoping to see some anglerfish. I wasn't expecting to see a squid. Oh, wow. What have you seen it being eaten?
We'll discuss that later. And she'll turn off the floodlights, and she'll start heading back to the biology lab.
I'm going to check how Dr. Keene is going, how her setup is going. If you don't mind, I'll catch up with you at 5 spare time.
And she'll just nod at you, and then she'll look at you, Tig, and say, perhaps you should also go and see how Dr. Keene is getting along.
Whatever you say, Cotton. And I salute her as I walk out.
All right. Dr. Keene is down by the moon pool, and she's getting her suits ready.
Yeah, she's just trying to get them set up as best she can, and she looks more uncertain than she would be under any other circumstance. She turns to them and says, you know, under any other circumstance, I'd be thrilled that someone's trying these, but these are the first live tests, and I just want you to know that we've never put a person in these before.
I'm honored to be making history, then, I guess. I trust your science more than most people's.
Yeah, I mean, we've run tests with the fluid, just never with the suits.
All right, if you guys are good, then I'm going to go ahead and run back to Joel.
Hello, I'm here.
All right. So Hughes shows back up after maybe 20 minutes, and he says, all right, you're relieved for the time being. Get yourself unpacked. Meet back up here in 60 minutes.
Yes, sir. And he'll promptly leave to go grab his stuff, and I'm assuming go to the dorms to claim a bunk and unpack a little.
Yeah, you would have to go through the galley where everybody is kind of gathered and talking after they went on their little tour of the biology lab. So if you wanted, you could interact with them a little bit, or you could just get right down to business, kind of up to you.
Interact with them. Man, that does not sound like a Joel Lawrence move. He's going to walk straight through the galley and go to the dorms to do the plan as described.
Fair. All right. And so, yeah, you do that. You also see Dr. Keene and Tig and Percy are fucking around with some... They look like dive suits, but it appears as though Dr. Keene is filling them with like a pink liquid.
Yeah, so I think Joel's just like, noticing that, he just thinks to himself that he's sure it makes sense to them, and he keeps moving.
The best approach. The best approach.
Oh, fuck. All right. So, Claire, what are you doing right now? What would you like to do?
So we are still kind of in that observation lounge, or did we move elsewhere?
You guys are kind of back in the galley, sort of just conversing and bullshitting right now. You've been down here for maybe 2 hours. You haven't really accomplished anything other than touring the biology lab, and maybe you guys have gone to a couple of other modules, but for the most part, you've just been kind of eating and talking to each other. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, but there is a tank that is in the biology lab, so you would be probably working alongside Wallace.
Great. So is that the only place where I can possibly do my work? Or is there somewhere else that, because like if I could reach outside and see with that giant squid out there, I could do some real interesting work to see what kind of pressure and, things like that.
Your name is Claire.
Yes, Wallace?
What exactly is it that you do?
Oh, I'm a marine biologist. They got me here to do some of those tests with extreme pressure. Specifically the biological organisms that they're looking to put together, I think probably with that silicone creature, which, when they were saying silicone before, I thought they meant that they were just going to have some, silicone. I didn't realize there was creatures down here, so that's fascinating.
Well, honored to be working with you.
Yeah, this will be interesting. So, have you been working with the company for long?
Not strictly this company. I honestly signed on when I found out that they were the ones coming down here, and I realized I could experience it firsthand.
I'm impressed that they let someone of your age down here. I figured they'd be pretty healthy.
Well, I had the experience and I passed the physical tests. I try to keep moving, not unlike Mr. Dick Van Dyke. Honestly, my voice is a little bit older than my body feels. It's 55 years of Lucky Strikes will do that to you,
Right. Yeah, you definitely don't want to go smoking down here. Both places.
Should have changed their slogan to LSMVP. Lucky Strike means vocal problems.
She just stares.
Maybe that joke's a little beyond your time.
Right. So Sid, what brings you down here?
As someone who works with turbines and fans of fluids interest me a lot. So there's a lot of there's a lot of fluids down here that are in very interesting configuration, and the silicon-based life forms, the glue, it has interesting fluid dynamics.
That's true, it does.
Right.
Ammonia, mostly.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and they're paying me a lot of money to be down here, so that's a consideration, I guess.
Lots and lots of fluids. fluids.
Yeah, like you go into the biology lab and
we're just a bunch of seamen working with fluids.
Exactly. Like literally all you can see is fucking fluids everywhere. It's very exciting.
We gotta stop before Tim kills all of us.
Sydney, what are you doing? Sydney, what are you doing?
Sydney Scuba.
I'm so sorry.
So when we were all volunteering to split off and do stuff, I was with that party. So whatever is going on there is what I was doing because I was interested in helping.
You're with the group that's been touring then currently.
Then yeah, I'm just kind of walking around then checking things out and really just being interested in all of the equipment.
Right on. Dr. Keene, are you ready to go down in the submarine?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I think that you guys get everything loaded into this. It's a much smaller submarine than you guys came in. And one of the ones that you guys came in is gone because that's what Adam and Lisa took to get back to the surface. But this one is smaller, and you kind of use the overhead crane to bring it down into the water, and you're just loading everything into it. And one of the things that is special about this submarine is that it has a carbon fiber sort of airlock at the back, but it's obviously not an airlock, but it needs to be able to expand very quickly because a lot of water is going to be rushing in all at once. And so it's sort of got this weird, almost like carbon fiber bubble on the back of it. But anyway, that's beside the point. And so you guys get into the submarine and disappear into the blackness. And Joel, I think that you have returned to the medical area, and you see that Dr. Walden is walking away in a huff, and Hughes is standing outside of it with his hands interlocked behind his back, and he's sort of standing at attention.
Yeah, Joel will stand there for a moment, and if he's not acknowledged, he'll just kind of clear his throat to make his presence known.
All right, Lawrence, why don't you come in here? And he's going to go into the medical module.
Yeah, I follow.
And when you follow him in there, he's going to immediately go over to the keypad, and he's going to quickly try and punch in a few numbers in hopes that you don't see it. You can make a wisdom roll to try and see it if you would like.
Nope, I do not.
All right, perfect. So he punches that in, and you see the keypad go from green to red. And he says, "We don't know what we're dealing with here, but Maldonado wants to know exactly what it was that crashed one of his submarines. So when we've got more to go off of from whatever it is that Dr. Keene and those other fucking yahoos find, I guess we'll watch the tape and go from there. But for now, this object is to stay under lockdown at all times. And so I want you inside this room. The only person that'll have access is me. But if somebody else does manage to gain access, you know what to do."
Joel nods.
And he'll leave, and the door will whoosh shut behind him. And you stand there for probably 30 or 40 minutes, and you start to hear a hissing noise coming from behind you.
Follow our podcast on Twitter at LCPDND. The Deep is GM'd by Tim Demuse at Ida Grab Your Gun. Tig was played by Chris Riley at Chris Riley LCP. Claire was played by Kim Metzger at Metzgirl. Dr. Keene was played by Aubrey Gray at Aubrey Gray 1. Joel was played by Chris, aka Critically Accursed, at C Accursed. Valhalla was played by Eric Pat at ES_pattycake. Sid was played by Samuel at Samsalot007. Sydney was played by Robin at DIOXIARIO. And Wallace was played by me, Brian Bridges, at Manly Brian. All of these Twitter links and more can be found in our episode description. They took to the stars and became stars.
So it says here you're from another galaxy?
Yeah, Milky Way.
I don't think I'm ever going to get used to saying that.
A band that influenced entire galaxies.
Sector 8, let's make some
Until their inevitable downfall.
Fuck you, and fuck you too, Switzerland. Thanks for having my fucking back.
Now, 20 years later, they find themselves unpleasantly reunited.
James, what are you doing here?
We had an entire motherfucking galaxy and you show up on this place. In a place where things are not what they expected.
One of our staff members just happened to go missing this morning, and
What the
I
fuck,
kind of had to...
Travis?
I understand.
Why
but,
the fuck do you have a guitar?
LCP D&D presents Odyssey, a musical actual play adventure set in space using the Savage Worlds system. Listen in by searching for LCP D&D on your favorite podcast platform or find us at lcpdnd.com. LCP D&D presents Fillmore's Crossing,
You go into a mining settlement called Fillmore's Crossing.
a fantasy western D&D adventure that's filled with comedy.
Do y'all know what the control zone is? You guys probably
I like
wouldn't.
the zone.
You guys,
where you get
I
control.
fucking hate both of you. Shut the fuck up.
Mystery. We were just at the saloon and I witnessed a man, if you can call him that, rip another man's head off.
Do you think we're dealing with demons?
Drama.
Damn it, woman.
You have no reason to go and wake up my son.
All I want to do is buy shit.
Y'all folk are the reason that this is all getting messed up.
For
and now
shit.
you're gonna go and... Does 20 hit your armor class, Igmit?
Yep.
And horror.
Oh, y'all gotta go. We gotta get out of here. Get out the back door. We gotta run. We got nothing now.
Listen to the entire Season 1 arc by searching LCP D&D on your favorite podcast service or find us at lcpdnd.com.
Are you looking for a job? We have a night cleaner position available. I can't say where, and I can't say for whom. It'd be better if you keep your head down and don't ask too many questions. The nights are long and grisly, but it pays well. The time passes quickly if we share stories. I have many tales I've collected over the years.
What is that?
Looks like blood.
Why is there blood coming out of the ceiling?
Well, I'll have to climb up and take a look.
Check out that printer too. I haven't seen one like that in ages.
So that must be what the boxes of paper are for.
I shall use my super strength to break the mechanisms.
What are you doing with that kind of money sitting around?
Not important. If I fail, the money is yours. Where are you from, detective?
Let's try to stay on topic, Mr. Waynes.
We are on topic.
How do you mean?
I was saying you look like my type. I'm just curious where you're from.
If you're interested, you'd better act fast. People are dying to get in here.
LCP presents The Night Cleaner's Tales, a scripted audio drama anthology series. Listen in by searching for The Night Cleaner's Tales on your favorite podcatcher or find out more at lcpdnd.com.
The phone call that I just received, it was about a call. Unfortunately, it's not in New York. You will be going to Ontario, Canada.
He'll take a super dangerous exit, like last minute, just squealing across the hash marks, and I think he probably hits just a little bit of one of those yellow barrels with all the water in them.
This is all kind of weird. They said it was the hoser.
I mean, your dad did call us. I'm just saying, the hoser?
Yeah, I never heard of it. I grew up in California.
There is a creature of folklore called the hoser near Lake Nipissing.
You heard of it?
No, I am just so incredibly shocked right now.
Listen to The Hoser of Lake Nipissing by searching LCP DND on your favorite podcast service.